I always knew those children weren't mine. Get the test or we're getting divorced. Kwame slammed his fork onto his plate so hard that drops of chicken noodle soup splattered across the tablecloth. I froze, the ladle in my hand, unable to believe what I'd just heard. What did you just say? We were sitting down for a regular family dinner. The twins, Jahari and Amara, had gone to their rooms to finish up homework. I'd just served their favorite creamy chicken noodle soup. Everything felt exactly as it always had. Or so I thought. You heard me just fine, Imani. Kwame pushed up from the table, his face blazing red with pure fury. I spent 15 years raising another man's children. 15 years. I laughed, but not because anything was funny. I laughed at the sheer absurdity of it, at the fact that the man I'd been married to for 20 years had suddenly become a total stranger. Kwame, have you lost your mind? I demanded. What other man's children are you talking about? Don't play dumb. He punched the kitchen counter. I know about that guy, your coworker. Remember the company gala 15 years ago? I genuinely tried to remember. 15 years ago, I was working as a bookkeeper at a major retail chain. I was pregnant with twins, huge already. I hadn't even gone to the company party because the morning sickness had been so bad. I didn't go to that gala, I stated firmly. I was 7 months pregnant, home on bed rest with swollen ankles and feet. You're lying. He snatched his cell phone and shoved the screen in my face. Here you are, wrapped up with some man. The blurry photograph did show me in a black dress, standing next to a man. I squinted closer. Lord have mercy, that's a photo from the company's anniversary celebration. Not a party, but an official business event. The man next to me was Mr. Cecil Dubois, the senior accountant. They were presenting me with an award for my service. We were just standing next to each other for the group photo. Kwame, this is Mr. Dubois. He was 58 years old at the time. He was handing me a certificate. Exactly, Dubois. I know everything. I felt a raw, scorching heat rising inside me. Not hurt, not confusion, but pure, burning rage. You know what, darling? I slowly put down the ladle and wiped my hands on a kitchen towel. Let's get this DNA test done tomorrow morning, and when it proves what a complete fool you are, you'll be on your knees begging my forgiveness. A fool? He smirked bitterly. We'll see who the fool is. Mom? Dad? Amara appeared in the doorway, pale, her eyes wide with terror. What's happening? Why are you yelling? Jahari stood right behind her, his fists clenched. My boy. Boys always take family arguments harder. It's nothing, sweetheart. I forced a smile. Just a discussion. Go finish your homework. We're not little kids. Jahari stepped forward, his voice tight. Dad, why are you shouting at Mom? Kwame looked at his son, and I saw something cold and unsettling in his eyes. Not love, not affection, but a cold, detached scrutiny. It was as if he were seeing Jahari for the first time. Go to your room, Kwame said quietly. This is not your business. It is my business, Jahari flushed dark red. This is my family. Jahari, please. I went to the children and hugged them both close. Go. Truly, everything is fine. Tomorrow, everything will be fine. I walked them to their room and closed the door. Amara clung to my hand. Mom, are you two getting a divorce? No, baby, no. I stroked her hair, long, dark brown, just like mine. Sometimes adults just have disagreements. It's nothing serious. I walked back into the kitchen. Kwame stood by the window with his back to me. You want a test? You'll get your test, I said harshly. But be warned, when the truth comes out, I want an explanation for this paranoia. Who's been poisoning your mind? He didn't answer. That night, we slept in separate rooms. I lay staring at the ceiling, replaying everything. 20 years of marriage. 20 years. We met when I was 21. He was a mechanical engineer straight out of community college. He courted me for 6 months before I agreed to a date. We dated for another year. Then came the wedding. Small, but joyful. I remember how happy we were when we found out about the twins. Kwame hugged me, weeping with joy. We picked names, set up the nursery, bought 2 cribs, 2 sets of everything. He came to every ultrasound, holding my hand when I was in pain. The delivery was tough, a C-section. Something went wrong. I hemorrhaged. They rushed me to the recovery room. I remember only fragments: the white ceiling, bright lights, doctors' voices, then darkness. When I woke up, almost 24 hours had passed. Kwame was sitting beside me, holding my hand, tears streaming down his face. "I thought I lost you," he whispered. "I was so scared." Then they brought me the babies, 2 tiny bundles, Jahari and Amara. They were so small, so defenseless. I pressed them to my chest and swore I would do anything to make them happy. I've kept that vow for 14 years. 14 years of being a mother, getting up in the night for crying infants, treating colds, driving them to dance classes and basketball practice, helping with homework until midnight, fussing over bad grades, hugging them after fights with classmates. I knew everything about them. Amara's favorite color is deep red. Jahari hates grits. Amara is afraid of the dark. Jahari wants to be a game developer. And now, my husband, the father of these children, was claiming they weren't his, that I'd cheated on him. I got up at 3 a.m., unable to lie there any longer. I brewed a cup of tea, sat in the dark kitchen, and finally allowed myself to cry. Quietly, so no one would hear. The next morning, I booked an appointment at a medical center for the DNA test. Kwame insisted we all go together. I looked at his face in the car, stone, impenetrable. When did he change so much? Or had I just been blind? At the center, a young lab technician greeted us, a kind woman with cornrows. "Please come in. The procedure is simple and painless. We'll take a swab from the inside of the cheek for every family member." "Every single one?" Kwame checked. "Yes, you, your wife, and both children, for biological verification." Jahari and Amara sat beside me, tense. I held their hands. "It's all right," I whispered. "It's just a formality." The technician worked quickly and precisely, swabbing the inside of the cheek with a cotton applicator. First Kwame, then me, then the children. She sealed the samples, labeled the tubes. "Results will be ready in 5 business days. We'll send an email notification. You can pick them up in person or view them online." 5 days. We lived like strangers in the same house. Kwame slept on the sofa in the living room. I cooked, cleaned, helped the kids with school, pretending everything was normal. But Jahari and Amara felt it. Children always do. "Mom," Amara asked one day while we were washing dishes, "Dad is mad at you." "No, sweetie. He just has a lot of stress from work." "You're lying," she said calmly. "You always say that when you don't want to tell me the truth. Dad is mad at you, and he looks at Jahari and me strangely, like he doesn't like us." I hugged my daughter. She was so grown up for a 14-year-old, smart, observant. "It will get better soon. I promise." On the 5th day, the notification arrived. "Analysis results are ready. Please visit the center to receive the report." We drove there together, leaving the kids at home. The technician with the cornrows wasn't there. We were met by an older gentleman in a white coat. Dr. Elijah Vance, the geneticist, introduced himself. "Please have a seat." I sat. Kwame remained standing, his arms crossed over his chest. "Well," the doctor began, opening a file, "we have an unusual situation here." "What do you mean, unusual?" Kwame stepped forward. "Just tell me, are the children mine or not?" The doctor looked at him, then at me. There was something strange in his eyes, sympathy, bewilderment. "Mr. Jones, you'd better sit down," he advised Kwame. "I'm fine standing. Just tell me." "All right." Dr. Vance cleared his throat. "The results show that both children, Jahari and Amara, are not the biological children of either of you." Silence. Complete, absolute silence. The words didn't make sense. It was as if he were speaking a foreign language. "What?" I managed to gasp out. "The children have no genetic relationship with either you or your husband," the doctor repeated slowly. "These are extremely rare cases. I've been doing this for 30 years, and this is the first time I've encountered this." "Nonsense." Kwame snatched the file from him. "That's impossible. You made a mistake. We triple-checked." the doctor said calmly. "There is no mistake. I understand this is shocking news, but I gave birth to them." I sprang to my feet. "I carried them for 9 months. I went through labor. How can they not be mine?" The doctor looked at me with deep compassion. "The only explanation that comes to mind is a mix-up at the hospital, or rather, the birthing center where you delivered. If I understand the forms correctly, you delivered at the private birthing center, the Providence." I nodded, unable to speak. "It's likely an error occurred in the identification of the newborns. It happens, though extremely rarely, especially if there were multiple births at the same time, and the babies were of similar weight and sex." "This is crazy," Kwame repeated. "Absolute craziness. Imani, they messed up the analysis. We'll go to another lab." "You are free to retest," the doctor nodded. "But the result will be the same. All the data on the loci and markers are listed here. It is scientifically clean. There are no matches on any marker." I left the office in a daze, my legs weak. Kwame supported me by the elbow, the first time he'd touched me in 5 days. "It's a mistake," he muttered. "It has to be a mistake." We got into the car and sat in silence for about 10 minutes. "I gave birth to them," I whispered. "Kwame, I delivered them. I remember it all, the C-section, the recovery room, and then them bringing them to me. They were so tiny." "Wait." He turned to me, his face pale. "You said the recovery room. You weren't with the babies for almost a full day." "Well, no, I was hemorrhaging." "And where were the babies during that day?" "In the nursery, where they monitor them for the first 24 hours. "And during that 24 hours, they could have—" He didn't finish the thought. I stared at him. Understanding came slowly, painfully, like a knife turning in my gut. "Switch them," I finished for him. "You think they were switched then?" "I don't know." He hit the steering wheel. "I don't understand anything. This is a nightmare, Kwame." I grabbed his arm. "If this is true, if they were really switched, then where are our real children? Where are they?" He looked at me, the same horror in his eyes as in mine. "And who have we been raising for 14 years?" he added softly. I couldn't answer. A lump rose in my throat. No, not a lump, a stone. I couldn't breathe. "We need to go home," I managed. "We need to think. We need to decide what to do next." We drove in silence. I looked out the window, thinking of the sheer absurdity of the situation. Just yesterday morning, I was sure the test would prove Kwame was an idiot and paranoid, that the children were ours. I was ready for his apology, for a huge fight, for anything. But not this. Not the fact that my children were not mine. No. Wait. They are mine. I raised them. I am their mother. Biology has nothing to do with it. But if the doctor was right, if somewhere out there were other children, our biological children, what then? At home, Johari and Amara were on the sofa in front of the TV. A normal picture. Johari was playing a game on the console. Amara was scrolling on her phone. I looked at them, trying to figure out how I could have missed it. They really didn't look much like us. Johari had light brown hair, almost sandy. Kwame and I both have dark, coily hair. Amara had green eyes. Kwame and I have dark brown eyes, but I'd always chalked it up to grandparents' genes. My grandmother had light hair. Kwame's father had gray-green eyes. "So?" Johari pulled himself away from the screen. "Is Dad satisfied now, or are we doing more tests?" He spoke with a challenge in his voice. My boy was trying to protect me. My God, he doesn't know. Neither of them knows. "Johari," I started, but Kwame cut me off. "Go to your rooms. We need to talk again." Amara rolled her eyes. "Are we going to be constantly banished to our rooms while you two figure things out?" "Amara!" I raised my voice. My daughter flinched. I had never yelled at her. "Please, this is important. Go." They left, wounded. Amara slammed her door. I heard Johari turn up his music, his method of protest. Kwame and I sat down in the kitchen. I automatically brewed tea and placed a cup in front of him. He didn't touch it. What do we tell them? I asked. Nothing. For now, nothing. How can we say nothing? Kwame, they can feel it. They already feel that something is wrong. We'll retest at another lab. We'll go tomorrow.